What if I can't fall asleep again? It doesn't come in loud. It shows up quietly, almost polite, like it's just trying to help. But your body understands before your mind does. Your chest tightens. Not hard, just enough for you to notice. Your breathing shifts without asking, shorter, shallow. The pillow, something that's supposed to feel like rest, starts to feel off, uncomfortable, wrong. You turn to one side, then the other. Your leg doesn't settle. Your arm can't find a place to land. And the thought comes back, what if I can't fall asleep again? A little louder now, a little closer, like it's taking up space, and you try to answer it. You try to convince yourself, I'll fall asleep. I always do. But it doesn't land, because your body is already on alert, and once your body goes there, your mind follows. You start thinking about tomorrow, the meeting, the thing you can't mess up, the responsibility waiting for you, and the thought shifts, but the intention stays the same. If I don't sleep and tomorrow's going to fall apart. You see it? It never shows up as a direct attack. It comes as a prediction, an attempt to stay in control, a way of getting ahead of something that hasn't even happened, and still, your body reacts like it already has. You've been here before, haven't you? Lying there, staring at the ceiling, feeling time move in a strange way, every minute longer than the last, like the clock is messing with you, and the worst part isn't even being awake. It's noticing that you're awake. You check the time and start doing the math. If I fall asleep now, I can still get 5 hours. Now 4, now 3, and suddenly the night, something that was supposed to be rest, turns into numbers, pressure, expectation, and your mind, instead of slowing down, speeds up. But there's something almost invisible happening here, and maybe you've never really looked at it this way. That thought, what if I can't fall asleep again? It didn't come out of nowhere. It's not random. It has a purpose. It's trying to prevent something, even if it's doing the exact opposite. And that changes everything, because maybe the problem isn't sleep. Maybe it's this quiet attempt to control something that doesn't respond to control, to secure tomorrow from inside the night. And that creates a strange kind of tension, because the more you try to sleep, the less your body trusts it. The more you try to relax, the more your body stays on watch. Like there's a voice somewhere inside saying, stay alert, this matters too much to let it happen on its own. And without noticing, you slip into effort, the kind that doesn't look like effort, but it is, invisible, constant, exhausting. Have you felt that you're lying there, completely still on the outside, but inside, you're working non-stop, reviewing, preparing, trying to get ahead of everything that could go wrong tomorrow. Like sleep is something you have to earn, not something that just happens. And in that moment, the bed stops being a place of rest. It becomes a test. Is it going to work tonight? And just that question is enough to put something in you on edge, because now there's something at stake. Now it's not just sleep, it's succeeding at sleep. And that small shift changes everything. Because something natural becomes something you have to achieve, and the moment it becomes something to achieve, your body reads it as a task. And tasks keep you awake. It's subtle, almost invisible, but it happens every night. And maybe the hardest part to admit is that this isn't a lack of ability. It's not weakness. There's nothing wrong with you. This was learned. At some point, staying alert made sense. Anticipating helped. Control protected you. But now, that same mechanism shows up at the wrong time, in the wrong place, with the same intensity, and you pay for it in the silence of the night, when no one's watching, when everything feels louder, heavier, more final, and the thought comes back, for the third time, familiar now. What if I can't fall asleep again? And this time, you don't answer it. You just feel it. And maybe, just maybe, there's something underneath that question that hasn't really been seen yet. Something that has nothing to do with sleep, but with what sleep means. And until that's seen, the night goes on, not as rest, but as a place where that conversation never really ends. Ryan didn't have a sleep problem, at least, not the kind people imagine. He functioned, woke up early, stopped at the Starbucks drive-thru, large coffee, no sugar, got in his car, took the highway, sat through traffic into downtown, made it to the office, answered emails, sat through meetings, did what needed to get done. If you looked at him from the outside, nothing seemed wrong. He was the kind of person people rely on, responsible, steady, the one who doesn't let things drop. But there was a part of his day no one saw, not his co-workers, not the people he'd grab drinks with after work, not his family. It was the moment he got back to his apartment, dropped his keys on the counter, kicked off his shoes, and the silence started. At first, it felt good. After a full day, that quiet almost felt like relief. He'd turn on the TV, let something play in the background without really watching. Sometimes he'd stop by Target before heading home, just to not go straight back, pick up things he didn't need, snacks, random stuff, like he was filling a space he couldn't quite explain. But night always came, and when it did, there was this invisible shift. Nothing dramatic, nothing obvious, just a change. His body started to slow down, but his mind didn't. He'd brush his teeth, check his phone, scroll for a while, 5 more minutes, 10 more, just a little longer. But it wasn't about the content, it was about delaying. Without realizing it, he was pushing back the moment of lying down. You ever do that? Stay up a little longer, even when you're tired, just to avoid that moment of trying to fall asleep. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but there's something there. Something that avoids, something that knows, without saying it. When Ryan finally got into bed and his body was tired, heavy, ready, but his mind switched on. No warning, no clear reason, and the thought showed up. What if I can't fall asleep again? Not every night at first. It was occasional, one night here, another there, but enough to leave a mark, enough to stick. And what happens when something only happens sometimes, but hits hard? You remember it, and then you start to expect it. Ryan didn't notice when it changed, but it did. The thought stopped being a reaction and became an expectation. He still functioned during the day, still showed up at work, still went to the gym, paid his bills, kept his life in order. But there was a quiet cost building up, a kind of fatigue coffee couldn't fix, a lightweight, always there, like he was slightly behind his own day. Then the small adjustments started, almost invisible. He began avoiding plans at night, turning down weekend brunch if he hadn't slept well, more irritable, without a clear reason, less patient, focus slipping, and still, no one would say anything was wrong, because on the outside, everything was still working. But inside, there was a quiet loop playing out every night, before bed, during, sometimes in the middle of the night. He'd wake up, check the time, 2:13 a.m., and then the math starts. If I fall back asleep now, you know that calculation, it doesn't help. But it happens anyway, and with it, the tension, the body that was almost shutting down, switches back on, like it just got an alert. And now, it's not just about sleep, it's about getting control back, making sure the rest of the night can still work. Ryan started looking things up, videos, tips, routines. Don't use your phone before bed. Try meditation, breathing exercises. He tried, for real. Some things even worked, for a while. But there was always that one night when nothing worked, and that night weighed more than all the others because it confirmed the fear. See, it's still here, and it created this strange loop. He didn't have insomnia all the time, but the fear of it was always there, and that alone was enough, because the mind doesn't need something to happen every time. It just needs to believe it can, and then it prepares, prevents, tries to control. Ryan started lying down, already watching, already monitoring, already testing. Is tonight going to be one of those nights? And just that question changes everything, because it takes sleep out of autopilot and turns it into effort. Have you noticed how some things work perfectly until you start paying attention to them? Breathing, blinking, balance, sleep. The moment you try to control it, something tightens, something feels off, And the body, that knew how to do it on its own, gets confused. Ryan didn't talk about this much, because it didn't sound like a real problem, not something easy to explain. I just don't sleep well sometimes, but it wasn't just that. It was everything that came with it. The anticipation, the vigilance, the quiet fear, and that thought, now part of the routine. What if I can't fall asleep again? It showed up when he turned off the lights, when he adjusted the pillow, when he closed his eyes, like a constant whisper. And the strange part, it felt rational, it felt logical, because it was based on something real, something that had already happened, but the effect wasn't logical. It was physical, immediate, automatic, and he never really stopped to ask where this actually started. When was the first time sleep stopped being natural and became something that had to go right? Because maybe this didn't start in bed. Maybe it started earlier, somewhere else, in a different kind of moment, where being prepared mattered, where not messing up felt too important. And now it just changed form, not function. And until that's seen, the night keeps being more than night. It becomes a mirror, a place where everything carried through the day finally shows up. No distractions, no noise, just you. And that voice, that sounds like you, but might be trying to do something you haven't fully seen yet. So the question stays, not as an answer, but as something that might already be there. Did this really start when sleep broke, or when something in you decided that failing wasn't an option? There's a moment most people don't notice. It's not when you lie down. It's not when you close your eyes. It's before that quiet instant when your mind runs a check, like it's asking, are we good? And if the answer doesn't come back clear, something switches on, not as a loud alarm, but as a thought, the same one. What if I can't fall asleep again? That thought isn't random. It's the shape the alarm takes, to keep you awake just enough, to keep you aware, to keep you in control. The problem is it doesn't come once. It repeats again and again and again. And every repetition isn't neutral. It shapes your body. Your breath gets shorter. Your heart picks up a little. Your muscles tighten without you noticing. And your body shifts into a state that doesn't work with sleep, but your mind reads that as proof. See, it's not working. And just like that, the loop closes. The thought activates the body reinforces the thought, and the alarm keeps doing its job. Have you noticed that sometimes it's not the not sleeping that keeps you up, but the constant checking to see if you are? That quiet monitoring is what keeps everything on. Ryan never called it an alarm. And to him, it was just thinking, just worry. But it wasn't just that. It was a system, a mechanism that learned from something real. Because this kind of vigilance doesn't come out of nowhere. It starts somewhere else. Another moment, another kind of pressure, where anticipating actually helped. Go back a bit, a few years earlier. Ryan was still in college, senior year, high pressure, projects, internships, interviews. He couldn't mess up. Not there, not then. He stayed up late. Not because he couldn't sleep, because he chose to. Coffee, screens, tension. Just a little more. I need to finish this. I can't afford to slip right now. And his body responded, stayed alert, available, working, even when tired. And it worked. He delivered, got the internship, got noticed. And in that moment, something got wired in. Staying up when it matters works. Being alert prevents problems. Not relaxing keeps control. You see what happened? The body learned. The mind connected the dots, and a pattern formed. But time passed, the context changed, the pattern stayed. Now there's no final exam, no urgent deadline at 3 a.m. But the system doesn't know that. It just knows how to repeat what once worked. So at night, when everything slows down, it steps in. Stay sharp. This matters. You can't just shut off. And to do that, it uses the tool it has, thought, the sentence, the repetition. This is where the shadow shows up. not as something dark or mysterious, but as something functional, something built to protect you. It has a logic, a purpose, and it helps to give it a name, because when something has no name, it feels bigger than it is. But when you name it, you start to see it. This one, you could call the Night Watcher. It's not trying to hurt you. It's trying to keep you prepared. It believes that if you relax too much, something important might slip. Something could go wrong tomorrow. Something could get out of control. And at some point, that was true. Maybe not about sleep, but about something else. A deadline, a responsibility, a moment where you felt you had to be 100% ready, 100% alert, 100% in control. And since then, the Watcher stayed. It didn't leave when it wasn't needed anymore. It just changed places. Now it shows up in bed, in the quiet, in the absence of distraction, because that's where it can speak. And it speaks with certainty, because it believes what it's saying. What if you can't fall asleep? What if tomorrow you don't perform? What if this gets out of control? And when you try to answer it, try to calm it, try to silence it, it reads that as resistance. And resistance to it means danger. So it turns up, gets louder, repeats more. Have you ever tried to force sleep? Tried to convince your body to shut down? And noticed that the more you try, the further away it feels? That's not a lack of ability. That's the Watcher is doing its job, because fighting the thought is exactly what keeps the alarm alive. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. Feels like you're doing something, but it only feeds it, and you get pulled into a quiet trap. You start treating the thought like the problem, trying to get rid of it, control it, make sure it doesn't show up. But that only tells the system it needs to keep going, because if you're reacting, it must matter. And just like that, the Watcher never rests, neither do you. But there's something important here, maybe the first time you're seeing it this way. That thought isn't trying to stop you from sleeping. It's trying to stop you from losing control. Sleep, in this context, means letting go, and letting go to this system feels risky. So it holds on, keeps you there, half awake, half trying, stuck in a place that's not rest, and not fully awake either. And that is exhausting, but it makes sense from its point of view. And maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't the thought itself, but the way you've been relating to it. Because up to now, every time it shows up, you step into the story, you believe it, you answer it, you try to fix it. But what if that's not the only way? What if there's a space, even a small one, between hearing the thought and following it? And what if that space is where things begin to change? There's a very specific moment when something shifts. Not on the outside, nothing you can see, same bed, same room, same night, but inside there's a slight movement, almost invisible. The thought shows up, like always. What if I can't fall asleep again? But this time, something doesn't chase it, doesn't answer, doesn't try to fix it. It just notices, like a part of you took a step back, not to escape, just to see. And that changes the whole experience, because up until now, that thought has always been treated like a command, something that needs an immediate response. But now, it starts to feel more like an event, something that happens and passes. Even if it comes back, that place inside you, where you can notice without obeying, has a name too. And it's not a better version of you, not some ideal. It's a capacity, something you can train, something that's already there, even if you don't use it yet. You could call it the calm observer. It doesn't argue with the Night Watcher. It doesn't try to silence it. Doesn't try to convince it. It doesn't debate. It just recognizes that's a thought. Sounds simple, almost useless, but it's not. Because the moment you see a thought as a thought, it stops acting like a command. It's no longer something you have to follow. It becomes something you can notice. Have you ever had a moment like that, even for a second, where you saw the thought happening, like you were watching it, without getting pulled all the way in? If you haven't, you might be closer than you think, because this doesn't take force. It doesn't take control. It takes space. And space doesn't come from fighting. It comes from letting go. Ryan didn't get this right away. At first, it was messy. He'd hear the thought, try to ignore it, and end up more stuck. Because ignoring is still reacting, so the watcher would push harder. See, you need to pay attention to this. And everything would loop again. But there was one night, nothing special about it, just a normal day. He laid down. The thought came, what if I can't fall asleep again? And for some reason, maybe he was tired. Maybe he just didn't have the energy. He didn't answer. Not because he chose differently. He just didn't engage. And in that small gap, something shifted. He noticed the thought, but didn't follow it. And for a few seconds, there was no struggle. The thought was still there, but it wasn't in charge. And his body didn't react the same way. His breath didn't lock up as much. His chest didn't tighten the same. It was subtle, almost nothing, but different. And that was enough, not to fix anything, but to show a possibility. Can you imagine that? Not getting rid of the thought, but changing your position in relation to it, like you're not inside it anymore, but next to it, watching, no rush to solve it, no urgency to control it. That doesn't mean the watcher stops. It keeps going, it repeats, it tries, that's its role. But now, something is seeing it, and once something is seen, it's no longer automatic. The shadow has a name, and once it's named, it loses some of its power. The night watcher is still there. But it's not invisible anymore, and the calm observer doesn't need to win. It just needs to be there, because what changes isn't the thought. It's your relationship to it, and that changes the body, slowly, because the body responds to meaning. If the thought is treated like danger, the body goes on alert. If it's treated like an event, the body doesn't have to react the same way. Ryan started experimenting with this. No strict method, no rigid routine, just noticing. Some nights it worked. Some nights it didn't. And this part matters, because it's not linear. There are setbacks, nights when the thought comes back stronger, more convincing, and he gets pulled in again, starts answering, trying to control. That doesn't mean failure. It means the old pattern is still active, and it will be, for a while. The difference now is awareness, and awareness creates choice, even if it's small, even if it only shows up once in a while. Have you noticed how a small shift in position can change the whole experience, not the content, but how you're inside it? That's what's starting here. The thought doesn't disappear, but you don't disappear into it. And that is the first millimeter of freedom. This isn't about sleep yet. It's about not being fully taken over by the need to control sleep. It might sound indirect, but that's exactly what begins to loosen the system, because the watcher loses fuel. Without intense reaction, without the fight, without urgency, it has less to do, not all at once, but gradually, and the body notices, feels it. Maybe it doesn't need to stay so alert, and that doesn't come as a decision. It comes as a result of not automatically obeying. And if you look closely, this isn't really about sleep. It's about your relationship with your own mind. And that relationship doesn't change in one night, but it can start in a single moment. Right here, when you notice that's just a thought, and you don't have to do anything else with it, just let it be there, without following, without fighting, without turning it into a task. And in that space, even if it's small, something begins to slow down. No effort, no technique, no control, just because you didn't step in. Block 5, 30-day practice. Your relationship with your mind. It doesn't start as a plan. There's no clear turning point, no moment where you decide this is it. It starts in the middle of the same night as always, same room, same bed, same thought. What if I can't fall asleep again? The difference is almost invisible, but it's there, a slight delay between hearing and reacting, a small space where something notices before it obeys. And in that space, the practice begins, not as a method, but as a living repetition, day after day, night after night. Ryan never called it practice. He just noticed some nights felt different. Not because he slept better, but because he struggled less. And that alone changed the experience. The first step isn't doing something. It's noticing the exact sentence. No editing, no softening, no trying to make it sound better. Just seeing it clearly. What if I can't fall asleep again? That's the line. Simple, direct. And when it shows up, instead of answering it, he starts to notice it. Okay, that's here. Nothing more. No pushing it away, no fixing. Just recognizing. Can you do that right now? Think of the last time that thought showed up and just look at it without stepping in. It's simple, but not automatic. And that's where the second step comes in. Noticing what's underneath. Not the thought itself, but what it's trying to prevent. For Ryan, it wasn't really about sleep. It was about the next day, about failing, not being able to keep up, losing control. And when that becomes clear, the thought loses some of its grip, because it stops being a vague prediction and becomes something specific. I'm afraid I won't function tomorrow. That's different from, I won't be able to sleep. You feel the difference? One sounds like a fact about the future. The other reveals a fear. And fear can be felt. It doesn't have to be solved right away. And then comes the third step, maybe the most counterintuitive one. Act without obeying, not by getting out of bed, but by not following the automatic pattern. Not checking the time, not doing the math, not trying to force sleep, not starting the control routine. Just staying. With your body as it is, with the thought passing through, without turning it into a task. It won't feel comfortable at first, because the old system pulls. It wants action, it wants control, it wants a response. But slowly, something shifts, because the pattern stops getting reinforced, and the body, that used to go on alert, starts to slow down, even if just a little. Ryan began to notice small changes. Nothing dramatic, but real. His breath settled faster, his chest didn't tighten as much, time didn't feel as heavy, and some nights, he didn't even remember when he fell asleep. It just happened, and that was new. But there were hard nights too, nights when the thought came back stronger, more insistent, more convincing, and he got pulled in again, started responding, trying to control. That didn't erase the progress. Because this practice isn't about perfection, it's about returning. How many times have you tried to change something and quit the first time you slipped? Here, slipping is part of it. Because this pattern has been repeating for years. It won't disappear in days, but it can start to weaken every time you don't fully step in, every time you notice, even after you've already reacted. Ryan started seeing that too. Sometimes he'd already be in the middle of the math. If I fall asleep now, and then he'd catch it. Oh, I got pulled in. And just that recognition created a little space, even inside the pattern, and that counts. More than it seems, because the practice doesn't only happen when it works, it happens especially when you notice you got pulled in and don't judge yourself for it and keep going, the next night or the one after, without turning this into another pressure. Over time, something started to reorganize, not the thought, but its importance. It still showed up, but it didn't take over as much, didn't pull as hard, and the body responded with less tension, less urgency, more space. And then, without really noticing, Ryan started trusting the process a little more. Not in a "this will work" way, but more like, I don't have to control this all the time. And that opens the door to something different, because sleep was never something you had to learn. It was always there, until it became a task. And this practice doesn't teach you how to sleep. It removes the need to control it. That takes time, repetition, good nights, and difficult ones, doubt, impatience. But it leads somewhere more stable, a different relationship with your own mind, where thoughts can exist without running the show, where fear can show up without deciding what you do, and where your body can go back to doing what it always knew, without constant interference. And in the middle of all this, there's a sentence that starts to make sense, not as motivation, but as something real. The smallest shift changes everything. It's not a perfect night. It's not getting rid of the thought. It's that small moment where you notice and don't fully step in, and that, repeated enough times, starts to change the direction. Slowly, almost invisibly, but steadily. And maybe the most important part is realizing this isn't about controlling better. It's about needing less control, and that shift, even if it's small, changes everything, even how the night ends, even when it starts the same way. Wednesday, nothing special. Ryan gets home around 9:40 p.m., stops by Whole Foods on the way, grabs something quick, comes back, eats, puts something on TV, barely watching. His body starts signaling, a light heaviness in his eyes, the kind of tired that used to be enough. Around 11:15, he turns off the lights, lies down. The room goes quiet. A few seconds pass, and then it shows up, clear, familiar. What if I can't fall asleep again? This time, there's no preparation, no effort to do it right, just the moment, as it is, and something slightly different. He notices, doesn't analyze, doesn't respond, just recognizes, okay, there it is. His body starts reacting, a slight tightness in his chest. His breathing shifts a bit. The urge shows up to turn over, adjust the pillow, check his phone, do something. But he stays, not rigid, not frozen, just not following the impulse automatically. And then he puts it into words, not out loud, but clear enough inside. Line 1, what if I can't fall asleep again? Line 2, I'm afraid I'll be exhausted tomorrow and won't keep up. Line 3, I'm going to stay here more, without checking the time. Nothing else. No extra technique. No trying to relax. No trying to sleep. Just not stepping into the pattern. A few seconds pass. Maybe a minute. The thought tries to come back. But what if he notices again? No frustration, no rush, just sees it. His body is still a little tense, but it doesn't build, doesn't escalate like before. And that alone shifts the rhythm. Time moves differently. No counting, no calculating. At some point, he turns to his side, naturally, not as a strategy, just because his body wants to. And then, there's no clear moment when sleep begins. No point where you can say, this is it. Just a quiet drop, a soft fade, and the night goes on. Not perfect, but different. And maybe the most important part, none of this required control. No performance. Just a small space between the thought and the response. Something you can try tonight, exactly as you are. The next time that thought shows up, you don't have to do everything, just those 3 lines, and see what happens. No expectations, no pressure, just try not stepping in all the way. Maybe this was never really about sleep. Maybe what you've been calling night anxiety is just the moment when everything you tried to control during the day finally finds enough silence to show up. No distractions, no noise, no tasks, just you, and this constant effort to predict, prevent, make sure. And that's not weakness, it never was. This system, the one that keeps you awake now, is the same one that at some point kept you going, kept you prepared, kept you safe. It didn't come out of nowhere, it was trying to protect you. It's just that now, it's doing it at the wrong time, with the same intensity, and what you've been feeling all these nights wasn't an inability to sleep. It was too much vigilance, too much control, too much trying, and maybe, for the first time, you're starting to see it from the outside, not as something you need to eliminate, but as something you can understand. The night watcher might still show up tonight, maybe tomorrow too, maybe for a while, but now, it's not invisible anymore. And that changes everything, because when you recognize it, when you notice it, when you don't automatically follow it, something begins to reorganize. Not in a dramatic way, not like, it's over now, but like a quiet internal shift that happens little by little, and that is enough, more than it seems. The shadow has a name, and once it's named, it loses some of its power. And now, you know its name. But maybe the most important part isn't the name of the shadow. It's the fact that you are not it. You're the one who sees, the one who notices, the one who can little by little choose not to follow every thought like it's an order. And that, even if it's small, even if it only happens once in a while at first, creates space. Space for your breath to come back. Space for your body to slow down. Space for sleep to happen again. Not because you forced it, but because you got out of the way. And maybe tonight, when you lie down, nothing will look very different. Same room, same silence, and the thought might come. But now, there's something new there. A little distance, a small gap between hearing it and following it. And sometimes, that's all it takes to shift the direction of the night. If at any point you notice that happening, even for a few seconds, that's already different. It's no longer automatic. It's no longer total. And that matters more than it seems right now. Thanks for staying here with me. If any of this landed for you, stay with it. You're not alone in this.